Okay, we're going to be doing an AutoCAD tutorial for horizontal curve or horizontal alignment of a roadway today. Our road is going to be, I'm going to arbitrarily pick a 30 mile an hour design speed here in this table, and we're going to be working with a 20-foot wide road based on the class example here that we're going to be going through. The process here has kind of been laid out in 2 steps for us by Paul, so we're just going to follow through and see if we can get it to work in CAD. So our first step is going to be to draw the roads in schematically. So I've done that on my layer here, just using splines and basic curves to get an idea of what I might want to do. It looks like we're working in relation to the contours here, going up either this ridge line or depression along here. Next, we're going to draw in our tangents. So I've done that on my layer called geometry. So you can see that at each straight segment of road, I've drawn a straight line, and the lengths really just need to intersect. They just need to go past each other so that we can get an idea of where they intersect. At each intersection is where a curve is going to be located, so that'll give you a good indication for later on. Next, we're going to number our curves, so curve numbers. So we're going to call this one up here curve 1 and curve 2. Check our design speed. So this table here from your Strong book, sorry I keep zooming in and out, table 15.1. If we work with a 30 mile an hour road, say, we just need to be larger than 250 foot radius. We're going to be using 300 feet as the radius for this example. Next is to select that curve radius, step number 5. So, like I said, 300 feet is what we're going to be using. And I've set up these curve tables here. I'll just bring them up, the curve data. And these are going to record really the data for our curves as we go. So for each curve, we've decided that we're going to be using 300 feet. And so we enter that into our data table. All I did to make these was type text, enter, and it says specify a start point for your text. And you click your start point and hit enter. And you go ahead and click your next point. And then we can just start typing text. So if we wanted to have a curve number 3, we could do that right here, and then we can keep adding text. I went ahead and escaped out of that command because we only have 2 curves for this example. So over here in our design process, we have compute I, L, and T. I'm going to bring this a little closer for us. I'm just going to use the move command to bring that over, which is M, enter, for the move command. And compute I, L, and T. So I is going to be your interior angle of your curves. So the first thing we need to do actually is draw our curves. So I'm going to go ahead and do F, enter, R, enter, which is fillet, and then we're going to define the radius. So once we've done that R, enter step, we're going to type 300 for our radius. And it says select your first object and your second object, and it puts a radius of 300 feet on that for us. Then we're going to do that again, F, enter. Now, the second one, we don't need to reset our radius unless we want it to be different. In this case, the 2 curves are the same, so we're just going to leave that assigned radius. And we get another radius of 300 feet. Now, in this instance, we've lost our tangent geometry. We've essentially, it's trimmed those lines off for us and made a nice clean curve for the roadway, but we want to be able to work with that geometry in this example. So I am actually going to copy this geometry out of this example just to make it a little bit cleaner to work with. Copy is CO, enter, right over here, so that we're working with only that line. So in order to do this, we want our tangent lines to actually show up. So I'm going to draw a couple lines out past this curve. There are quicker ways to do this. This is simply one example. And I'm going to actually use the trim command to extend the geometry to where I want it. So I want to extend the tangent lines of this curve out to these lines. So I select those as my cutting edges and I right click. When I hold shift, I can click the lines I want to extend and it will extend them out to those. And then I can erase these cutting edges. And we can see that I have the tangent lines now extended so that we can see where they intersect again. That just helps for us doing our geometry calculations. So again down here, TR, enter. Those are cutting edges, right click, and we're going to hold shift and click that one, and it extends that line out. Hold shift and click that one, and it extends the line out. So I'm going to do select those and do E, enter to erase those other lines. So now you can see we have these tangent lines drawn in here. Now to get an interior angle, we really need a center point would be desirable for this arc. So I'm going to just select my line tool, which is L, enter, and I hold my mouse down over that arc. And the center point should pop up so that you can lock to it. And I'm just going to draw the lines out to the endpoints of that arc. Now, if the center point of that arc doesn't pop up when you have your line tool selected, select that line tool, hold down shift and right click, and there's a whole list of things here that you can snap to. So in that case, if it didn't pop up, you would click center, and now this is going to snap to center points of objects versus snapping to the ends of objects and other types of entities. It will only snap to center points for this instance. So that's kind of a useful thing to get in the habit of. I can do that down here to locate the center point of this arc. If I did L, enter, hold down shift, right click, and center, and there, it snaps to the center point of that arc. Now I'm set to center point, or no, I'm sorry, I'm not anymore. Once you click that one, it goes ahead and unlocks from that. So I'm just going to trace these to the endpoints of this arc. And we have our interior angle essentially denoted. But we need to dimension that. So in our annotations menu on Mac, it's actually up here under annotation. It's essentially a pull-down menu. I believe in the Windows menu it's up in here you switch to an annotate tab, or it might just be another pull-down menu next to it. So I'm going to go over here to annotation, and I want a angular annotation. So I select that, and it says select arc, circle, or line. So I'm going to select my first line. Sorry, I'm going to select my arc, and it gives me the degrees. So that is roughly 30 degrees. Let's see what we have over here on the class example. For I is 30 degrees. So it looks like we're just about there. minor error can be tracing or simply decimal accuracy of what accuracy we may have the settings set for. So if I go angular again and select the other arc, I can label this other arc with a degree, and for I here, I can come in and do 30. Now in here it's kind of hard to do degrees and symbols. Over here there's this little arrow that'll help you get in here, and you can start getting symbols under this pull down menu. So right there under that @ is a typical symbol, but you can click under that and you get your degrees also, and other useful ones as well. So just label our other I, 30, and pull down menu. Under the @ sign is your degree symbol.